Good evening and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have yourself Alan James.
What were you thinking about there?
Sorry. Good evening and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself Alan James.
And you have myself Stephen George, who was just looking at Alan, waiting for him to speak, and Alan's looking at something else. Off to a good start already.
It's going to be one of them shows. Right, okay. Hello, it's Sunday, the 15th of February, 2015. Good evening. God, what a start. Here we go. Okay, yeah, 15th of February, 14th of February, happy Valentine's Day for yesterday. I hope everybody got loads of cards. My post box was inundated with postcards and Valentine's Day cards and everything else. And then I told the postman that you got the wrong house.
Yeah, you sent them down to me then.
That's right. Right, okay. On the show, we were planning to have Dr. Joseph Cipollone, but for some reason Dr. Cipollone has gone AWOL. We tried to get in touch with him during the week and we haven't heard anything back, and we didn't really want to take the chance to ring him at 4:45 in the morning in Australia to find out that he's not going to be there or he wasn't ready. So we will reschedule Dr. Cipollone. We'll get in touch with him and see if we can sort it out. But in the meantime, we were planning to have a guest on a few weeks ago, a lady called Fiona OLeary, who is going to be talking to us about autism and MMS, and not the good bits about MMS, unfortunately, with autism. And unfortunately, a few weeks ago, Fiona had a death in the family, which you're sorry to hear, so she couldn't make the show. So I'm glad to say, you know, Fiona, I was talking to Fiona today, and she agreed to come on the show tonight to talk about this, because we have to hear both sides, good and bad. You know, it wouldn't be just fair having just one side. So I think it's good to hear the other side, have a look at the other side of the coin and see how we go. And also later on, after Fiona, we're going to be getting Jaypee in from Ever Beyond Radio, and we're going to be talking about 2015 and what's going on globally and where we see things going as well. So that's going to be quite good. But for the moment, let's find out what the communication channels are.
Okay, communication channels, please, Mary.
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, the phone number 046 927 1212 if you fancy giving us a bell during the show. If you're going to ring in from outside of Ireland, the phone number will be 00353 46927 1212. We also have the chat room on the website as well. That is OYMradio.com. If you're listening to us on any other place and you want to ask questions, that is the place to be. They're a nice, friendly bunch of people in there. We also monitor People's Internet Radio as well. We're going to be... What? Sorry?
You unscript the script. You take number 2.
Oh, sorry. Let's start again. We'll edit this out of the podcast. Yeah, we have... Sorry, I thought it was meant to... I thought Alan was trying to get me to mention something there, but no. Anyway, yeah, we have the chat room as well. We're going to monitor People's Internet Radio. So hi to everyone over there and over here. We also have the Facebook link as well on the website there. We are on the anti-social media if you want to check us out and be our friends. We also have a YouTube channel as well where we upload all our podcasts and any video footage that we have that we've done over the past, including the Christmas song that we done. I don't know how many million hits that has at the moment, but yeah, keep them coming. That's about the size of it, I think we have. Yes, well, bases covered there. So that's the story.
Okay, Alan. Good stuff. Okay, well, just a big mention to everybody who went to the peaceful protest, the peaceful assembly, I should say, rather than a peaceful protest, peaceful assembly. I believe peaceful assembly is in the Constitution and protest isn't. And the politicians and the media are trying to call us protesters and all that kind of stuff. So we have to kind of change the phraseology and start saying peaceful assembly. So well done to everybody that went to the Minister for Justice offices for the unlawful arrest of people in Jobstown, and also well done to the people who had a anti-war peaceful assembly at Shannon Airport, a sit-down peaceful assembly at Shannon Airport. Well done. It's fantastic to see. Well done. As I say, Jobstown, brilliant. You know, it needed to be done. More and more people are beginning to wake up and see what's going on and see the blatant corruption over and over again that our government are doing and our politicians are doing. And again, the politicians who are in the party don't seem to be coming out and saying anything. you know, and I know I've said it before about them feathering their own nest. And that's the way it seems, because you would think they would come out and go, well, I'm disagreeing with the party whip system, or I'm disagreeing with Enda Kenny, but they don't. They all seem to be kowtowed to the party whip system and what the senior politicians are saying. I know there was one minister I read a couple of weeks ago that was going to do that, and they were threatening to kick him out of the party because he wasn't towing the party whip, the party line, which I think is bang out of order, because we're supposed to have democracy, and it's not democracy if the party whip is dictating to the TDs, and then they just have to do what they're told. That's, you know, a bit pointless when you say that you have democracy and you don't. So again, a big well done.
No, I think, look, we've both been seeing things on the internet during the week, and at every hand's torn, the government and people, you know, involved in the government, the likes of the Irish Water, everyone keeps throwing the word democracy is getting bandied around a lot this week. You know, where we're still getting led to believe that we have democracy, and you know, in a democratic society, I think that's one I heard mentioned during the week on I think it was one of the links I listened to. But you know, I mean, we don't have democracy. I don't give a damn what everyone is saying. It's just a buzzword at the moment, democracy. We certainly don't have it in Ireland, not as far as the government is concerned. They want us to believe we do, but no, we don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. You're going to tell us...
I'm going to tell you something here. Yes, I'm going to tell you all about this now. But yeah, on the Pat Kenny show today, was that today as in today?
No, it was actually the other day.
Today as in the other day. Okay, so if you listen to the podcast,
time travel.
You're going to be really confused. On the Pat Kenny show the other day, that's a News Talk 106. It's owned by Mr. Dennis Watermeters O'Brien. And see me, Olivia Mitchell, who was a TD, she described the anti-water metering protesters as, get this, terrorists. Terrorists! Terrorists!
I don't remember signing up. You know,
if we're terrorists, then how come we don't have all the gear that the terrorists have?
Do you get a free balaclava as you join up?
I thought there was an introductory pack where you got your balaclava, your AK-47,
and your training manual.
Your training manual, your big boots, and all this. Yeah, terrorists. I mean, again, there's another word getting bandied about. But I mean, look, these politicians, they know that we're all peaceful, because if we weren't, someone would have been hung from lampposts by now. So they know we're peaceful. But the best way to, I suppose, one of the best ways to throw us in a bad light is call, you know, pick a name. Okay, what do people hate? They hate terrorists because terrorists do bad things, and terrorists allegedly blow up buildings and allegedly do this, that, and the other. So they label us as terrorists. So to try and put us in the same category, under the same umbrella. Well, I'm sorry, Olivia Mitchell, it isn't going to work. And as Alan and I spoke during the week, we spoke about Paul Murphy and the arrest that happened to Paul Murphy and other people as well. There was a couple of kids handcuffed. I think that they, you know, the water meter thing again, and they're trying to criminalise the likes of politicians now, i.e. Paul Murphy, because he was involved in the protest, and two children, one 16 and I believe one 14 as well, led away in handcuffs. So, you know,
10 guards for the 16-year-old.
10 guards.
What
is that
a complete waste of resources.
It's unbelievable. So they're terrorists as well.
16-year-old, 10 guards for 16-year-old. I mean, it just goes beyond belief. It really, you have to ask yourself, what are these people smoking? And they should give up, because it's just unbelievable that they would do such a thing. All because of Joan the phone and what happened. She was in a car nice and comfy, sitting with a mobile phone smiling. And yes, there was a peaceful assembly and people were stopping her from moving. And then there's all this police and intimidation. Who are these people? Who do these politicians think they are? It's just goes on. Just unbelievable. But okay, on to a few other bits and pieces. Just to say that the Open Your Mind radio app is available in the Google App Store at the moment. It's not on Apple because it costs money to do that. $99, I believe, to do it on the Apple. The App Store, but it's on the actual Google App Store for smartphones, so you can go to that, type in Open Your Mind Radio, and you'll actually see it. You'll be able to download and install it if you have a smartphone. And the other thing is, just a call out quickly, if there's anybody out there that is familiar with responsive web design and is familiar with T3 framework or Helix Bootstrap, if you can give us a shout, or just responsive web design in general, if you can give us a shout, myself and Steve, because we'd like to talk to somebody about that. There seems to be quite a few bits involved with doing it rather than making basic websites. And we're going to have to redevelop the OYM website, we know that, but we want to do it right. And we want to make sure that it formats for mobile devices and stuff like that. So any kind of hints and tips that you can give us, that would be fantastic. So if you know anything about responsive web design, please give us a call. Let us know. Steve, how's your week?
Yeah, well, look, my week's been fine. I've been looking at, probably like everyone else who's on the anti-social media, Facebook, I've been looking at some of the links that have come up about the protesters, the politicians, what they're saying about us, you know, what they're trying to do. I've been listening to the interview in relation to Paul Murphy. I listened to Paul Murphy's television interview where he was on, I think it was TV3, with some lady whose name, I don't know the girl's name, so excuse me, where both this lady and George Hook tried to back Paul Murphy into a corner and, you know, kind of throw the AAA, the Anti-Austerity Alliance, which is the party that Paul is leader of, or member of anyway. They tried to throw them into disrepute, but Paul, he was well versed, and he came out fighting, and he came out on top. He beat the living pants off George Hook, and this other lady, he wiped the floor with her as well. So I've been kind of catching up on stuff like that, and you know, there's no point in rehashing it here, because I'm guessing you're all following it as well. However, I do have a book in front of me. This is the one thing that I do want to mention. Me with a book in front of me, I hear you say? Yeah, it's not my book, it's my son's. It's a school book. He's doing this in school at the moment. He's 8 years of age, and this is a book that they're doing. It's obviously part of the curriculum, I believe. It's called My Friend Mandela. It's kind of it's a short book. It's what is it? It's 28 pages long. No, sorry, 29 pages long. It's about Nelson Mandela and his life. And there was just a little article when he was doing his reading during the week. Anyone who has kids of a certain school going age will know that when they're sent home, they have to do the reading, and the parents have to be there, and you have to listen to them read out loud, and they have to make sure that the words are, you know, they're getting everything, the pronunciation correct and all this sort of stuff. So as he was reading page 19 of this book, my ears pricked up. I was in the kitchen while he was doing his homework. I'm going to say I was making the dinner. I was creating a cordon bleu. No, I think I might have been washing up. I was washing up after the dinner. That's what I was doing. Man about the house, me.
I'm glad you said washing up and not doing anything else.
Yes.
Not,
I don't know what you were thinking of, but anyway. Yeah. So anyway.
Oh, there is a benefit of having audio and no video.
Yeah, it's lucky there's no cameras in here. Anyway, sorry, I do apologise. But yeah, he was reading this book aloud, and when he mentioned two words, peaceful protest, and I that kind of caught my attention, and I said, can you just read that bit again? I said, and I'm just going to read. It's a very short paragraph, and it goes like this. He's over 6 feet tall and was quite strong. He said boxing taught him to stand up to bullies. This is again about Nelson Mandela. Eventually, he and his friends realised that peaceful protests would not change the laws. Peaceful protests would not change the laws. They decided to fight the government. Nelson became the commander-in-chief of the army, the spear of the nation. And I just thought that was quite interesting, because we're hearing a lot about peaceful protests, and, well, some people think peaceful protests work. I know anyone who would, say, watch the life story of Gandhi would say, well, peaceful protests work. You know, it worked for Gandhi. But I think in this case, the likes of the Irish Water, where they're being violent, and the Gardaí are being violent towards the citizens of this country, I think when they have changed the game plan, or they've changed the rules to suit them, I think us peacefully protesting, it's not going to work. Again, we don't condone violence. I certainly don't condone violence. But if it's, you know, if violence is good enough for Nelson Mandela, then I think it might be good enough for the people of this country. And I think maybe, you know, when the guards are getting heavy-handed, or the Irish Water workers, the Irish Water thugs are getting heavy-handed, then I think, you know, we are perfectly entitled to fight back and have a level playing field. Again, unfortunately,
at least, it's self-defence anyway.
It is self-defence. Well, I say, unfortunately, it may have to come to that. And again, I don't condone violence. I'm not a violent person. So if there's any violent people out there, send in your CV.
That sounds like fighting talk, that does.
It does, yeah. That's really all I wanted to mention. Anyway, how's your week?
Yeah, not too bad. Just one thing I was going to say. I popped along to a Land League meeting this week. It was very good. Again, an open forum, great chat, great people to meet there on the Land League. And we talked about a number of things. And it's really great. Again, I say to people, go out. If you haven't joined the Land League, get a group together. If you don't have a local one, get one together. If you do, join it. And you sit around. Basically what we do is sit around and everybody has a talk. Nobody talks over anybody else. Everybody has a say. And it's a collective amongst people, and it's just enjoyable, and you're learning stuff as well. People are telling you about their experiences, what they found out, what they've came across, they're in court, things that happened. And it's amazing what you learn and the people that you meet. So recommend that if you're somebody that, you know, has a bit of time in their hands and you're looking to join a group to, you know, help out other people who are being evicted. I mean, I think the other day in Cork, I think it's tomorrow actually, Steve, that in Cork there's going to be 200 and odd evictions. I think that's what they're saying.
Jesus Christ.
That's and you probably guarantee that, say 256 evictions, I think they said. Don't, you know, take me on that number, but I think it's around that. If probably only a handful of people are going to turn up, so maybe 10 people might turn up and the others won't turn up, and that's a pity, because if everybody turned up and found there's a way to fight the system, then, you know, you could really like make a difference by doing that. But, you know, how do we communicate with these people who don't turn up? I don't know. I think we all have to be telling our friends and family that there is a way to actually challenge the banks and to put up a fight and don't just accept it. So I think if we can all do that, it'd be pretty good.
Unfortunately, the likes of these other people who you have to turn to when you're in trouble with your mortgage, I mean, they're not given the advice, that they're not given the proper advice that they should be given. I think they're kind of, you know, they're offering advice that probably at some point down the line is going to have you evicted out of your home anyway. Yeah. You know, it's just a pity that they weren't given the proper advice and saying, you know, go and talk to some of the people at the Land League. They know what they're doing. Whatever comes of it, at least you'll probably end up you'll be still in your home. You'll have a period where you'll be still in your home and you can build a case rather than just hand over your keys, be turfed out. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to bring our guest on. The lady is Fiona OLeary. Now, Fiona is a mother of 5 kids. Now, having 5 kids, it's a handful in itself, but 2 of the children are autistic as well, which is more work on top of that for Fiona. I don't know how she does it. I think she's a superwoman, because 5 kids, unbelievable. But Fiona contacted us regarding MMS. And we know people have used MMS successfully for certain different things, but people are looking, well, I wouldn't say looking, but people are using MMS for to cure, inverted commas, autism. And Fiona has been shocked of what she's saying. As a mother of 2 children with autism, she was shocked what she was saying and what she was hearing about, and what the children were being put through to be cured, inverted commas. So we thought, you know, the thought was great. Fiona got in touch with us, so I thought, well, let's get her on the show and let's talk about this, because we have to see both sides of the coin. We have to see both sides of MMS, the good side, and if there is a bad side regarding the autism, well, let's find out and let's hear about that. So, good evening, Fiona. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me, Alan and Steve. It's great to be here.
That's great. Thanks a lot for coming on, Fiona. I hope that introduction was okay, because, you know, I think you've been campaigning to wake people up regarding autism and the use of MMS to cure, I'll put inverted commas every time I say that, autism. And there's arguments for both sides. And we've heard a lot about MMS. We've had people on the show talking about MMS, but you're saying that there's certain issues with MMS and autism that you've come across which you're campaigning against. So do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and what the campaign is all about?
Yeah, well, I'm a mother to 5 children, as you say, and 2 of my children are autistic. I also have Asperger's. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I was diagnosed in 2013. Autism is not a disease. I just want to make that clear. It's a neurodevelopmental condition. And, you know, children are born with autism and they will die autistic. And I really think that that's the biggest point that I want to make here, is that autism is often being referred to as a disease, and then that cure element is coming into it. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay. I found out about MMS being used for autism about 8 months ago, and I was alerted that by another lady in Germany contacted me through Facebook. I couldn't believe it, really, Alan and Steve, what I was hearing, that these children were being given MMS orally and through enema form, up to 6 enemas a day. The side effects that they were having from ingesting this chlorine dioxide was just shocking. I mean, continuous vomiting, fevers, hair loss, pain and suffering. And I've been actively involved in a campaign since last summer, and we are making progress, but I really want to try and get the message out there that this is happening, and it's happening in Ireland as well. It's happening in as many as 80 countries worldwide at the moment. And it's appalling. It's child abuse. Barnardo's and the NSPCC have called this child abuse. And I mean, you know, these children are autistic, but they have human rights, and they're actually being violated as we speak.
So the parents are making the assumption, based on the information they've been given, that, you know, although the child might be in pain, that it's good for them because it will cure them of autism. And they're obviously desperate because they want to do something.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can use the word vulnerability, you know. I mean, autistic parents or children are very vulnerable, and I think that that's the problem, that there isn't a lot of support for parents out there, and they will just basically try anything. But this is something else. I mean, we have all sorts of weird treatments out there and quackeries, and many of them are dangerous. Chelation is one, HPOP, the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, where they're put into these chambers, are pretty bad too, but this is absolutely appalling. I mean, it is abusive and it's dangerous, and children are suffering. I mean, they're very, very ill. We've had kids in South Africa hospitalised from taking this protocol with dangerous low sodium levels in their blood. You know, the continuous enemas alone are a violation, and whether you're using MMS in those enemas or not, their bowels aren't working properly because they're having up to 6 enemas a day. It's a horror story. I mean, I cannot understand how this is actually happening in 2015 in a modern world. It's medieval, barbaric, and has to stop.
Well, I'll have to agree with, there's a lot of things happening in 2015 that is evictions being a lot of them, but obviously that's another story. But now, I have seen the videos regarding this, and I know some of the treatments that the parents have been using was like colonal irrigation, I think is the way to the word, which is basically another way to get the MMS into the body to clear the system into the bowels and clear the system. And on these videos, I'm saying on the videos, I'm not saying it's true or not because I don't know, but on the videos, these people are saying allegedly that it is making a difference and it is helping. So, but at the same time, you know, as an adult, having colonal irrigation done as an adult is one thing, but giving it to a child who really doesn't understand the process and is autistic might be hellish, be a nightmare.
Well, it's not the fact. I mean, these children are asking for these procedures. They don't have a voice. They don't have any, you know, there's no ability to say stop. I mean, we have screenshots of CC Autism of children, you know, comments where they're running from their parents, or they're held down, where they're pinned down, and have these enemas forced on them. We have images of children with their toenails hanging off from using ongoing chlorine dioxide, their hair falling out, their skin eruptions. It's absolutely appalling. And I mean, you know, they're told worms cause autism. This is the whole theory behind the protocol, and that, you know, by giving them the chlorine dioxide, they actually take photographs of the child's feces, and what is in the photographs is actually lining of the intestine. We've had professional people test the stools of these children, and there are no worms there. There are no parasites there. And what is there is the lining of these poor children's stomachs, and it's coming out strip by strip. And the long-term effects of this protocol could be really, really life-threatening and fatal, actually.
Right, okay. And, I mean, obviously MMS, people have used it for different other ailments, which that's another story in another show. But you're concerned, now you said there's a couple of cases that you came across where people were, one guy I think you said would be going to jail for a long period of time. What's that all about?
Well, there's a lot going on at the moment. In America at the moment, in Arkansas, there are 7 children have been removed from the family home due to MMS. And I don't know the investigation and what's going on, but they are in foster care as we speak. And one Daniel Smith, who was like a big seller of MMS, is actually on trial on the 26th of March for selling MMS. And So there are arrests happening, and I really think that the protocol that I'm referring to, the CD protocol, is, it's a criminal activity. I mean, these children are suffering, and, while everyone wants to have the best for their children, and that includes my children as well, you'd never subject them to this torture. You would never give them a treatment that would make them be in pain or make them have ongoing health issues. That's not helping that child. And with regards to the recovery stories that Kerry Rivera talks about, we know that they're not verified, and we've actually proven this recently. We had somebody contact Kerry Rivera with a fake story, saying that their child was cured, blah, blah, blah. And she actually didn't ask one single question. She put it on her website within 20 minutes. No questions asked. Complete scam. I mean, and that's what I call this protocol. It's a money-making racket. Parents are putting in hundreds of pounds, not just for MMS. That's not that expensive in itself. But they're on ocean water, which is actually an unpasteurized, unfiltered water that costs $40 per litre. And they have to take that as well as zeolite, chelation therapy. These children are lab rats. They are literally little subjects, and they have no life. They're not allowed to mix with their peers because what they're doing is seen as illegal activity. They're not in school, so they're isolated from the community. And this is all done underground, Alan and Steve. It's not out in the fore. To get into their forum, you have to go through all these passwords and all these checks. It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, I've never seen anything so abusive in my whole life, and I just cannot believe that it's happening in the same time,
Yeah, and you would think that if something is so beneficial for, as I say, just relating to the autism, that it wouldn't be so underground, it'd be more out front. Now, at the end of the day, adults are adults and they can make their own mind, and I don't think anything should be illegal. I think, we're adults, we can make a choice, we're intelligent enough to know what's right and wrong. But where children are concerned, myself and Steve being dads, anything that would, harm our children. Now, when I say that, harm our children, I mean, there has been instances where we would bring our kids to a doctor, and our kids might need to get an injection or something like that. And though it hurts them, we do say, well, we think it's actually, for your best interest. Yeah. And then again, we have to ask that question. I know we talk about pharmaceuticals, but Steve, you're being a dad as well. How do you see it?
Well, again, I've listened to what Fiona's saying, and again, I've listened to what a lot of people say, and I would never do anything to cause pain or hurt to any of my children. And as Alan just said there, the society that we live in tells us that we must inject our children with the doctor must inject their children with a chemical cocktail that we really don't know anything about, and a lot of people are quite happy to bring their children in, hold them steady while this needle is administered and this concoction. And, we think that we're doing it for the best interest. And I would say that would it be possible that, the parents who are going down the road of the colonic irrigation with the MMS for their children, maybe they are of the same belief that they're doing it, with the best interest of the child.
No. It's not colonic irrigation of MMS. This is orally as well. They're having up to 20 drops a day of MMS, and that's an extreme dangerous amount.
It is, yeah.
I spoke to that. And I mean, these children, if they laugh, okay, I'll just give you an example of what they see as a bad trait, okay? So if a child laughs just out of the blue, which is wonderful to see your child laughing, isn't it? They panic. And they say we have to double dose that child. So that poor child, for laughing, gets a double dose orally and a double enema for having a laugh, okay? They see, these children are like watched continuously. They can't breathe, they can't talk, they can't express themselves as they are. I'm all for everything that you were talking about, opening your mind and accepting people in society. Autistic people do express themselves differently, and they should have that right to do so. And these children are literally continuously watched, they can't express themselves. Kerry Rivera of the CD Protocol had a telesummit recently, and I listened to that telesummit. It was called Empowering Autism or something, and her first mention was how she hated the word autistic. Just imagine how her son feels hearing his own mother say that. They're knocking their confidence. They're bringing them up with this belief that their autism is a bad thing and that it's something that needs to be stamped out. I mean, I'll give a comparison to being gay, okay? You're born that way, and the same kind of things happen to the gay community. They were forced to have cocktails to try and, normalize them or change them. This is the same kind of thing, and I think it's absolutely horrible to even think that your child is like seen as a disease, because autism is not a disease. I mean, every child is different on the spectrum, and they will need different support, but only support that benefit them as individuals, and not cause them any pain. And this is causing immense pain, not just physical, psychological, and the long-term effects, like I said. You know, it could lead to cell changes. We've talked to doctors, we've talked to professional people. It can cause cell changes. This is development to cancer. If you're stripping someone's tummy with the lining of their gut, how can that be a good thing? Really, in all honesty. And having enemas up to 6 a day, that's an invasion of their personhood. It's a violation. We've had police call it rape. That's the terminology they've used. And it is. I mean, we know autistic adults having this as well. It's not just children. Many parents have their adult children living at home, and my son is 22. Actually going at an adult at that age and giving them repeated enemas, that's not normal. It's absolutely dark, and it's disturbing. And we won't stop until this stops. I mean, this is not something that is small. We're here to end this, and we will.
Okay, and the people who are claiming that the MMS is working for the autistic children or the autistic adults, have you seen the evidence that they're putting forward to say it is working?
There's no real evidence. We have, like, there's testimonial stories that are put up in her organisation or her Facebook group, and it's the same thing. Like I said, we proved ourselves that they're not verified. We went with a story, we presented it to her, no questions asked. She didn't even ask about the child. She just put it straight into her website. And somebody else has done it as well. It's a scam. I mean, this is a money-making scam. They're making massive money out of these parents. And I mean, yes, I feel sorry for the parents because they are vulnerable. But any parent that actually stands by and pins their child down to put this into their body do not deserve to have that child, and the child should be removed. I think all these children need to have their blood work done. I think they need to be checked out as soon as possible. And in the UK, we have reported cases, and we have done so in Ireland, and it's only a matter of time. And those using these abusive treatments will be prosecuted. It's going to happen.
Okay, you have a question there, Steve.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions and comments, Fiona, already. This one's from Vin on People's Internet Radio. Vin was wondering, would you, if there was a full investigation of MMS by the medical profession, would you support that investigation, and have you sought that investigation? Have you sought that, basically?
I support any investigations or any research, but I mean, with regards to this, like I said, and like, Alan has mentioned, as an adult, you have a choice. These children do not have a choice. If you want to do drugs as an adult, that's your choice. If you want to take MMS, that's your choice. These children don't have a choice. Many of them are nonverbal. They can't even communicate their needs or the pain that they're in. And I'm here to protect the children. I personally wouldn't take MMS, okay? But if somebody else wants to do that and they're an adult, that's their choice. Making investigations into MMS, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't personally believe it to be beneficial. That's my own opinion. I'm here about removing this from the autistic community and protecting these children.
But would you be, sorry Steve, you're open-minded to the fact that if there was a trial done or if there was some testing done from an independent body and they come back and actually said they're right, it does work, you would be happy to accept that?
No, I wouldn't be happy to accept MMS. I think even the procedures that they're doing, even giving repeated enemas without MMS, I mean, even just doing that alone, I think it's a violation of their personhood. It's wrong. Enemas are horrible. Autistic children, just to let you know, I have 2 autistic children, I know a bit about autism, have sensory needs. It's one of the biggest aspects of being on the spectrum. Even the smell of this MMS is so strong that it would cause a child to vomit. My son now has huge sensory issues around smell, so I mean, to have to even smell that is enough to make that child traumatized. So, and then going at them with an enema, my goodness, even teeth brushing, things like that for my son, he's very tactile, defensive, would be very hard for him. So I just, I can't imagine what this kid's going through, having to be put down and have, tubes inserted into them. They put up to 1,000 millilitres of fluid into their bowels at a time. That's a massive amount of fluid.
Yeah.
And that could be 6 times a day. These children don't go to the toilet normally anymore because they're dependent on enemas. And their bowels are actually, they're losing the normal function that they once had.
Okay.
Healthy bowels,
Okay, well, we have a caller. We have a phone call just come in, so let me just set this up.
Okay.
All right, caller, you're online there. Do you have a question for Fiona?
Yeah, hello. Basically, Fiona, have you the book, The Autistic Brain?
Not that particular book, no.
Yeah, she's not that particular book, Patrick. No.
Who's it written by?
Alan, to Fiona as well. I look at these children as gifted. We have to learn to understand them, and not to understand us. And
Yeah.
it's very close to my heart. I'm not going to go into too much. I'm quite emotional about it, to be honest, because
Okay.
it's close to my family. And yeah, we've got to stop all this abuse to these children. They're gifted.
Here.
They think with a different mind to us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's true. And that's a very good point, because they do think differently, but it's not a disorder. It's just a difference.
I'm a little bit emotional about it.
That's okay. Okay. That's
Thank you.
That's sorry, Steve.
I don't think Patrick is hearing Fiona.
No,
you're not hearing Fiona, Patrick. No.
Are you not?
No, I didn't hear nothing there.
I just want to thank you, Patrick, for your contribution, because what you're saying is exactly true.
Yeah, she just said, Patrick, that she wants to thank you very much for your contribution. She agrees with what you're saying, and she said it's true.
Yeah, and yeah, again, it all felt, you might hear my voice, I am a bit emotional now. But fair play to you, Fiona. I'm going to hang up now.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right.
Okay, Patrick. Thanks a lot for calling.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right, take care.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, yeah, well, that's Patrick. He's as you can hear, we can hear it in his voice. Patrick often rings in, and yeah, he is. It's obviously very close to his heart.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Fiona. You know, the whole kind of enema thing and all that. I mean, even in, you know, thinking of it as an adult, and you know the whole process of enemas anyway. I mean, but forcing that on a child, and I said again, myself and Steve are dads, so you know that's the last thing that we'd want. And I know the parents might think they're doing well, but you don't want to see your kids suffer. And if that's going to make them suffer, then it's a no. I think.
No, it's a no, and I mean, I've had an enema myself for health reasons. I was hospitalised. I had, you know, problems a long time ago. It's painful, and it's embarrassing, and it's humiliating and degrading. And, you know, these children, we know of babies as young as 1 having this protocol. They're giving it to siblings to prevent autism. It's absolutely crazy. We have, you know, babies with awful images of rashes on their bodies, you know, that it's just wrong. I mean, there's nothing right about this protocol. And like I said, if you want to take MMS as an adult, that's your choice. These children do not have a choice, and it's abuse. It really, really is abuse. And the parents are brainwashed, and I think that they're not even, you know, focusing on what's going on. They're just like on this train of thought that this child can be, I don't know, somebody else. And I think that's really sad. You know, I think it's sad to compare your children. I've had it myself when my eldest son is 22 when he was diagnosed, and I remember going to a meeting once and one parent saying they wanted their child to be like the brother. And I think that's terrible. That wouldn't be my son. If I changed him, he wouldn't be who he is. And it's not what I'm about. It's about supporting them, but not trying to change them, because they're wonderful and they need to have acceptance. It's really, really, really wrong.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Steve has more questions for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the both chat rooms are lighting up here with the activity, but Vin is just wondering again, Fiona, in relation to. He said he's obviously listened to what you're saying, and he's paying good attention. He said you've been looking into this for some time, but if medical science was to say that it may be of some benefit, you wouldn't support that, no?
I wouldn't support this protocol at all. I mean, I don't give, just to clarify things, and there's medication out there like the big pharma that I've been accused of. My kids have never taken medication. It was offered to me when my son was 13, you know, as to support him in school, and I said no. So, I mean, just because it's passed by whoever doesn't mean I'm going to do it. You know, as a parent, I make very wise choices with my children's health. And no, because of what it represents. The fact that the enemas, the invasive, you know, ongoing. These children are literally from 9 in the morning to 9 at night being dosed. Okay, they're dosed all day long. They can't play normally. They can't interact normally. All the things that autistic people should be doing is being removed from them. They're not socializing, and we know that autistic people have difficulty socializing, and they're locked in their house like a prison, being given enemas all day long and being dosed, because the schools won't allow them to do this. They're not allowed to do this publicly. So they're removing them from school. They're actually keeping them isolated from society, which is the opposite of what they should be doing. So that is why I would never, I don't care who passes this, if it ever happens, it won't. I'd never support this protocol, no.
Okay, Steve?
Okay, right, just another question, just out of curiosity, people are wondering, what about vaccinations? Have all your children been vaccinated?
Yeah, I knew that would come up. Yeah, all my kids have had their vaccines. I have 5 children, and 2 of my children are on the autistic spectrum. I'll be honest with you, there is, a big debate around vaccines, and some parents, will say there's side effects. But I think a lot of the effects of vaccines can, display similar kind of traits or symptoms to autism, but it might not be autism. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I vaccinate my kids because I don't want them to get polio, I don't want them to get tetanus. Those diseases kill people. And there's been a big measles outbreak in America recently, actually. I don't know if you're following that, because of the vaccination.
Fiona, there's a bit of noise in the background there.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a bit of noise in the background. Are you doing the washing up at the same time?
No, I'm in my bedroom.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
No, it just sounds like water running there.
It sounds like water running in the background.
Is there?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing, no.
Wow.
You might want to check for a leak.
I'm sure I've got plenty of that in my house. But the vaccine debate is a big issue, and I think it's probably linked to this actually as well. Because if you look back in Andrew Wakefield and how he kind of brought this out some years ago, I think there's been like a steady increase in a lot of these therapies or treatments or whatever you want to call them, and some of them are just crazy. Mm-hmm.
Well, the whole vaccine debate is another show, and we've had enough doctors on OYM, and they've all said near enough the same thing about the vaccine. So, but as I say, that's another show. The concern here is the autism, and as you say, the abuse that the autistic kids are getting from the parents, thinking that they're doing well. Now, what's the state of your campaign at the moment? How far down the road are you? What are you doing with it? What have you done? And who's involved? Is it a loose knit group around the Ireland, or are you a focus group, or how does it work?
It's a worldwide campaign, Alan. At the moment, we have in New Zealand, Australia, America, South Africa. So it's a very big campaign, and we have a website, bancdmms.com, if anyone wants to go and have a look. And we have Facebook groups. We have a petition running at the moment, actually, to stop Kerry Rivera speaking in Chicago on the 23rd of May, where she will have a platform to promote this protocol and to try and get more parents, into using this treatment. We're trying to get that stopped, obviously, and so there's a lot of activity going on at the moment, and more media coming up in the near future too. So it's a very active campaign, and I've worked tirelessly at this for nearly 8 months now. It's a lot of work because there's a lot of emailing and writing and, building websites. There's a lot of very great, wonderful people that I'm working with at the moment that are giving every bit of their time to this. They're called the 18. And I love them dearly because they really are wonderful people. And my husband as well has been great, Tim. He's been great support because I do have 5 kids, as I said. So it's not easy to fit this in, but we are making great progress, and I think we will be able to get this closed down. So
can we just clarify that you don't want to make MMS unreachable for adults, so you just want to stop the adults treating the kids?
It's completely to do with the CD protocol, which is chlorine dioxide, and this protocol has been developed by Kerry Rivera. She has a book, and the book is basically all around curing autism. So this is my campaign for that. This has nothing to do with anything else. I don't have time for any more campaigns, I assure you. This is what we're focusing on.
And where does Jim Humble come into this? Because Jim Humble was the first person to obviously put together MMS, and Katie, is it Katie Rivera?
No, Kerry
Rivera. I mean, how did she get involved and start changing protocols?
Well, she joined up to the Genesis 2 Church. She's a bishop of the church, and so she would have learned everything from Jim Humble. I don't have much respect for Jim Humble, I'll be honest with you. It's not something that I really want to go into, but Jim Humble says he can cure everything from cancer to Ebola to AIDS or whatever, and then he can make gold. He's also made a statement that MMS can actually increase breast development in women. It's just unbelievable what he can do. I'm a very logical thinker, Alan, and I really, make sure that, I wouldn't just take something, I'd really look deep into it and check everything out. That's the way my brain works, and I think that's healthy. We try to challenge not challenge, but talk or debate this issue with Kerry River. I've asked them many times to talk to me on this issue. They don't want to talk to us. They just, they don't like questions. They don't like you challenging what's going on. And I think that's very unhealthy. And I think that if they really were so, supporting this protocol and it's amazing and it can cure autism, they'd be out in the public arena. It'd be, praising it from the mountaintops. It's just so dark, and it really just spells a scam. It doesn't spell anymore. And in the middle of this, these children are being tortured and suffering, and it's appalling behaviour, and it has to stop.
Well, we'd be happy to, be a platform for debate if Kerry wants to come on the show and talk about it, because, we have to get these things out in the open, and I think it's once it's kind of a shared debate, and, people have their say, and there's 50-50 both ways, then that's fine. That's really, sorry, just diverting there, that's really funny. That's as if somebody else is tuned in on Skype as well. Is there somebody else? Nobody else is on Skype there, bar Fiona?
No.
No?
No.
That's weird. It's like somebody else is actually on there, on the same channel. So that's spooky.
Maybe they're a spy. I don't know.
Yeah. And there's a weird noise coming in with you as well. And it's like as if you're running the water and washing up at the same time.
There's no washing up.
But you're, as you say, you're in the bedroom.
I'm living in the middle of the mountain, so it's probably a bit, out here the connection would be the best. But I'd be happy for Kerry River to come on and talk to her. I've said that before, and to have a debate around this issue. And I'm like you. I'm listening to both sides of the debate, talking together. But I don't think she'll do that.
Yeah, well, the opportunity is there, and the invite is there if Kerry wants to come on and talk about it, and we have both you on, and we can get it out there and get it out to the public and let our listeners hear both sides of the debate and let them decide for themselves. But at the end of the day, the one thing I will say, the whole kind of enema and hurting the kids and stuff like that, I have to disagree with that. I wouldn't like any kids being hurt. I wouldn't like my own son, and I'm sure Steve's the same with his kids, going through any process or any treatment where it's painful, because this day and age, 2015, we should have better technology now. And I've heard doctors talking about, doctors we've had on the show and other people saying that we're using 19th century methods to cure people when we're in the 21st century, because we know the technology is out there to cure people better. And
just to the cure thing, autism, to say that to an autistic person is actually quite insulting about being cured, because we don't want to be cured. Most people on the spectrum see themselves as being, different, but they're not ill. And that's why I want to make that reference, that even saying that you need to be cured is offensive. It's offensive to me, and it's offensive to my children. And my children don't want to grow up in Ireland having that kind of attitude that, oh, look, you're ill, you need to be cured. Yeah. They're not ill, they're different. My son has never had any gut issues, just to clarify. My two children have never had any problems with their guts, and really are very healthy individuals. So it's just the fact that that's out there, that message that we need to wipe out autism or eradicate it or eliminate it, or how they express themselves. It's absolutely appalling. And so, even the language used to describe autism and how it's being kind of tossed around. There's no legislation either. That's the other point I just wanted to make. In Ireland, we have an autism bill that's been lying there for 3 years. It's not active. It's still at the committee stage. And I think if we had legislation, Alan, that things would be different. There would be some kind of protection for autistic people, and they wouldn't be subjected to any quackery, It's like anything goes for autism. Let's do this or let's do that. There's no one monitoring these treatments, and no one's looking at the health issues that that are affecting autistic people. None of them are actually proven to help them. If anything, they're proven to harm them, and that's what we need to look at. We need to support autistic people with healthy treatments and not subject them to this awful abuse.
Okay, well, when I say cure, I was referring to general diseases as opposed to autism, because, as you said, that's something that they're born with, correct?
Well, it's not a disease. I actually studied autism in UCC as well, so I know quite a bit on the subject. It's a neurodevelopmental condition. It's always existed. We have an increase now because we're diagnosing a lot more. We're picking up on kids earlier. Adults are getting diagnosed as well, and so it's always existed, and that would debunk the vaccine theory too, because it's always been there. And I really see it as a neurological difference, a neurotype. which needs to have acceptance and not, be targeted as a disease or a threat. The fear-mongering is rife. We are regressing. You've made a very good point about the going back instead of going forward, and even looking at the government today and how corrupt it is. I completely agree with everything what you said before. It's the same thing with autism. We seem to be going back to the Bleach stage and back to this medieval barbaric treatment. In America, they even do shock therapy on autistic children. It's unbelievable. They've got these things attached to their backs where they give electric shocks if they feel that they're not behaving appropriately. Awful things are going on. It's not just NMS. There's a mound of awful treatments out there that need to be stopped, and legislation is the only way of making that happen.
Okay, Steve, you've got a couple of questions there.
Yeah, we'll have a couple. I have a couple of comments more so than questions. I'm just going to go in order anyway. One here from Sam on People's Internet Radio. Sam saying that he's heard bitter orange is being used as part of a treatment for autism with amazing results. And I'm just wondering, have you heard anything about this bitter orange?
What is bitter orange? Is it a drink? No, I haven't heard of that one. It sounds strange. What is it exactly? I'm
not 100% sure. Sam, maybe you can just drop us another message out just letting us know exactly what the bitter orange is.
That's a new one. No, I mean, we have everything. I mean, dolphin therapy, horse therapy, riding, they're all fine. Some of them are, broccoli can cure autism. Some of them are absolutely just crazy, but I've never heard of bitter orange. That's a new one to add to the pile.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue on from that. Just when you mentioned about the children are born autistic, Free Willy on PIR says, not all people are born autistic. Some get the autism after vaccinations. And he also goes on to say that he recently read an article about the Amish people, that Amish people don't vaccinate, and the rate of autism in their community is 0%, he says.
Yeah, I read that article myself, actually, and I can just give my opinion on it. I actually think that what's happening in a lot of these situations is that they isolate the children and they don't talk about their children being autistic. It would probably be a shameful thing for them to be autistic, so I really think that there possibly would be autistic children there, but we wouldn't know about it.
So you reckon that the Amish will be hiding their children?
Yes, yeah, I do. And I see that with a lot of religious families. We know that there's a big part of this protocol is very religious families doing this, and they're hiding them from the community. So I think these kids are isolated, definitely. And it's nonsense, actually. I don't believe that vaccines cause autism. That's my personal belief. And there's a link in my family. I have a sibling that's on the spectrum as well. There's genetic factors there. They're the only evidence we have is that there's a genetic factor. All these other theories aren't, haven't been set in stone yet. There's like everything from pollution to, the environment. Everything causes autism now. I saw an article recently that circumcision causes autism. I mean, it's just gone crazy. I mean, looking sideways might cause autism. They've got everything now. It's just like a freak show, really.
I was going to say that about it being genetic, and do they know what the cause of it is?
Yeah.
And as you say, it looks like it's genetic, but there could be other situations where it could be caused by something external, environmental. I mean, is that possible?
Well, even if it was, Alan, I mean, we don't know. I think we don't know. That's the truth. There's all these different theories. There seems to be a close factor to genetics, and that's the only one that I can see as being really evidence-based. All these other theories haven't been, they're just questionable at the moment. Even if that was the case, you still wouldn't go to these extremes to do this to your children. And it's not about the cause. We have to focus on how to support children, not why have they got autism, how did this happen. They're missing out on their life. They're missing enjoying their children, actually, having fun with their children, learning from them. I mean, when my sons were diagnosed, I can start thinking about what caused this, what caused that. I try to focus on them and making their life, happy and fulfilling and beneficial to them. It wasn't about me. And I think that is a big factor, is that parents, it's all about them. They're not actually seeing it from their child's point of view, and how much they're actually missing out on enjoying their children and just being the way they are.
I know what you mean. Steve, you got more questions there?
Yes. There's a lot of questions and a lot of comments. I'm not. Do you know what? Sometimes when we get a question, I try to formulate it, as to have it as nice as I can. But some of them I'm just going to have to read out. And this one comes in from People's Internet Radio. They're just wondering, Fiona, have you done any research on, or have you seen any research on the effects of mercury on the brain?
No, I haven't had time for that. And, that's going back to the vaccine theory again. And, the vaccines today, as far as I know, don't have mercury in them anymore. It's been removed for a long time. I can't really comment on the vaccine thing because I haven't read up on it. I've been so involved in this MMS issue with autism that I haven't had time. There's a few of our campaigners that would have a lot more knowledge on that subject matter. So I haven't personally studied that now.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, okay. I'm copying and pasting here like crazy. Lee on PIR says Thimerosal is a mercury. The vaccinations now have Thimerosal, and he says Thimerosal is a mercury derivative. Thimerosal is a mercury derivative of mercury, and aluminium as an adjuvant is another toxin that does not belong in the body. Okay, I think we can probably all agree with that anyway. Where are we now? Can this lady please offer any scientifically researched information, please?
On MMS and autism?
Well, it's not really the scientific information. What we're talking about is, kids getting enemas, young children getting enemas. You don't need science to prove that that's not really good for children.
No,
full
exactly.
stop.
And actually, the recovery stories that I'm talking about, and I've mentioned earlier that, they're not verified. So there is no science or evidence that this works. That's the answer to that question. And even if there was, you wouldn't do it to your child. You wouldn't put them through this abusive treatment day in, day out. Ongoing, by the way, this is for the rest of their lives because none of these kids get cured. That's the truth. And Terry Rivera's own son is still autistic, and she talks about that. I mean, if it doesn't work for her son, how can she say it works for anybody else?
Well, that's it. I mean, proof in the pudding is actually seeing the results, and if her son is not improved in any way using it, then why carry on promoting it? You have to believe in what you're selling, so to speak. And I don't know Kerry, I don't know her son, so I can't really comment on it. I mean, if she wants to come on the show, we'll be happy to do that.
There's just one more thing I just want to mention about this protocol, actually, is that they don't allow doctors to intervene. So when the children are going through these side effects and they have high fevers, they have a fever protocol, and the fever protocol encourages fevers. So they get the fever from taking the bleach or whatever the MMS, it is bleach, because I see it as a bleach solution. And they won't give them paracetamol. Kerry Rivera made a comment recently where she said paracetamol is bad for autism. Imagine making a comment like that. I mean, paracetamol is so important for children, and you know that, being dad, that if your son or daughter has a fever, it saves their lives. I had a convulsion when I was 1. And if paracetamol hadn't been around for me then, I wouldn't be here now. So they actually tell parents to let their child be in pain, not to give them the paracetamol when they're going through this. So that's adding to the torture that they're already subjecting these children to. These children can't have any pain relief. It's absolutely nuts.
It's a bit mad, all right. We're going to have to wind things up, Fiona, but Steve, do you have more questions there?
Yeah, there's literally loads of questions and comments. Some of the ones are when we spoke about the Amish people saying that there was 0% autism there. Someone said that by your comment you seem to be calling the Amish people liars.
Can I just say that? Yeah. There's many studies, okay? I know from being in this autism field, you don't believe everything you read. That's one thing I've learned in life. I see hundreds of different papers, studies being presented on my wall every day. And if I was to say that that's true, I want proper research, the proper paper, a science paper. Show me something like that, and then I might reconsider, but not some article. That's one thing I'm very, focused on, is that we see proper evidence, and we don't see any evidence. That's what I'm trying to say. If it really bloody works, where's the evidence?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any more that you do want to finish up with, or?
There's just too many to pick from.
Is there?
Seriously, there's so many. I think we're going to have to do a full show.
I think it's meltdown time. Well, we have a few more minutes. Go on. Go through.
Okay. So this woman has two autistic children What are the odds of that? Oh, yes, she's had them all vaccinated. Again, it's back to the...
That's just a comment rather than a question. Okay.
It's back to that. Where are we? Where was more people asking about scientific evidence? Symptoms of vaccine damage. Does she reckon? This is another one from Lee. Lee says autism is Lee reckons, in his own of his opinion, autism is a symptom of vaccine damage. Can you recommend anything for that?
What do you mean? Recommend what?
I'm guessing the cure or something.
No, like I said, I don't see autism as a disease, and I don't see it as needing to be cured. And it's quite sad, actually, that so many people really believe in this. It's
Okay.
What I'm hearing is the mercury thing, and no, I don't recommend anything, and I certainly wouldn't recommend anything for anyone's child. I don't know them. Everyone is an individual on the spectrum. That's the other thing I want to make clear, and no two children are the same, and we have to support them individually.
I just think, personally speaking, Fiona, that a lot of people are kind of asking questions that are vaccine related because a lot of people have seen research. They have seen research, and I mean, we have actually spoken to doctors on our show. Again, like this, doctors will differ in patients' diets, they say, but we have spoken to people, as I know other people have, where doctors, medical doctors, are saying that a perfectly healthy, normal child who suddenly, within a very, very short period of time of getting vaccinations, starts to show tendencies of autism. And now some people are saying, no, the vaccine didn't cause it. The autism was there all along. It's just a coincidence that the symptoms of the autism show itself in around the same times as the vaccinations.
Well, I mean, it's been debunked, actually. I mean, I don't know if you're following that, but Andrew Wakefield, I actually went to a conference of his in '93, and it was absolutely just terrifying parents. I really believe that the vaccine thing is not proven. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it, and that's how I feel about it. And I think that parents are, at that time, their children do present. It's the time when children do present with autism. I just think it really is a coincidence, and that's my honest opinion on it.
Okay, well, we interviewed Andrew Wakefield. We did a video interview. Yeah, it's on our YouTube channel.
I must look that up.
Yeah, we talked to Andrew. We did a video interview. We did there was a kind of sovereign independent show, and Andrew was there. He was talking at it, and they asked us to do an interview with Andrew, which we did. So it's if people want to see that, go to our YouTube channel. You can see it there. One more question which we'll put in, and it's about Vin. Yes.
Oh, you're reading the same.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to finish up. But the one thing, Vin from People's Internet Radio wants to know, Fiona, would you be interested in doing an interview if you can arrange for an MMS practitioner to debate, to talk to somebody? So there's your side and their side. Would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very interested, yeah.
Okay, well that would be very interesting. We'll pass on your details to Vin, and we can organise it, and then you can have two debates, and then that'll be an interesting show to do. But from myself and Steve, I'd just like to say thanks a lot for coming on, and what you're doing. As I say, 5 kids, 2 autistic. I think you want to be Wonder Woman, to be honest with you, because as parents, it's we know what it's like. But when you have 5 children and 2 autistic, I mean, that is definitely a Wonder Woman stuff, I'd have to say. So thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, my autistic children, 2 autistic children, focusing on the word autistic, they're wonderful, and actually they're probably easier than the other children, to be honest with you. They're very, very well organised, and they have their routines, and I just want to say it's not a negative thing, autism. We need to see it from a different opinion, and I'm very positive about my children. I just want them to have the same human rights as everybody else. Yeah. And unfortunately, they don't right now. Okay,
well, that's fair enough. That's a fair comment. Thanks again for coming on. Steve's going to get all your details so people know where to get in touch with you, Facebook page and all that. Steve, up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, Fiona, if you want to give us your details there of how people can find out more about the work you're doing, or just, what you're doing in general, then if you want to give us that information, I'll get it up on the chat rooms here, and then people can contact you.
Yeah, well, the website is bandcdmms.com. And we have Facebook groups as well. I'm on Facebook, Fiona OLeary. We have Boycott Chlorine Dioxide. There's many groups on there. But if they go to the website, bandcdmms.com, all the information is there. We have a petition at the moment as well. We can get the details from the website. We're trying to stop care over doing this seminar in May. And we'd love anyone to support us with that. But they can contact me through Facebook or through the website.
Okay, we have that information there. I'm going to put that up on the chat rooms. So you probably will get a lot of people contacting you.
But that's good.
Great.
That's a good thing. So you can, if people want to know about stuff, and they have rather than questions are great, opinions. We know about opinions. We talk about an awful lot. So if you have a question, that'd be pretty good. Okay, Fiona, stay with us there for a minute, and we're just going to go to a musical break, and we'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com, UnitedWeStrike.com, and PeoplesInternetRadio.com.
And we're back. Yeah, good information there from Fiona. I know a lot of people disagree with a lot of what Fiona says, and at the end of the day, as Alan says, we have to sit in the fence here and ask questions from both sides. It's good information. Maybe Fiona is right, maybe she's wrong, maybe she needs to do more research, maybe we need to do more research. We don't know, but I think we can all agree. I think we can all put our hands on our heart and say we're all against harming children. I think that's the bottom line.
That's fair enough, yeah.
If the research shows that this is beneficial, well, maybe it could be done a different way.
Definitely, anyway, yeah, I totally agree. Right, our next guest is Jaypee from Ever Beyond Radio. Good evening, Jaypee. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
How are you doing?
Welcome. Greetings from Scotland, even though I sound like I'm from London, which is true. just to get everybody clear, I live in Scotland. I was born in London. And I haven't got a Mockney accent like Jamie Oliver or anything like that, but because I listened to Radio 4 when I was a child, so I only listened to my parents were foreign, so
okay, well no, actually I can hear myself in the background.
What is it that what do they call it? The slave master's voice.
The slave master's voice.
Like people respond to me here. Obviously I live in a rural Scotland, and people look at me and like, you sound like one of them. One of the bad guys.
Well, listen, Jaypee, I'm hearing myself in the background. There's a bit of an echo there. Can you?
Only when I've got my mic open. So if you pause a second, then you won't get the echo.
Right, there you go. Okay, no problem at all. Well, Jaypee, I thought it'd be great to get you on because we haven't got you on for a while, and it's now 2015, and there's so much stuff. I mean, you're a radio presenter. You have loads of guests on your show, as we do, and we hear so much about what's going on, what's predicted. So, this is 2015. What's your take on what's happening at the moment globally? I mean, where do you think we're going to be going? And this is very open your mind about, everything. We'll discuss everything because it's not just about the physical, it's about the spiritual and other things as well. But what's the SP at the moment from your side with the guests that you've had on? What are they predicting and what are they saying?
Okay, right. Okay, so I've had some fascinating guests, and I'm going to have some fascinating guests. Tonight I've got Stuart Swerdlow, who was part of the Montauk Project in the 60s as a child, and they did some horrendous things to him.
Yeah.
But this is all about mind control, and basically he's learned how to unprogram himself from mind control using colors and techniques. And so he's offering that at expansions.com.
That's right. Stuart has been on the show.
He's on later.
Yeah.
He travels all the world and is looking at the way the New World Order is trying to set itself up. So he'll be on later. So we'll be getting a report from him. I've got Laura Magdalene Eisenhower on tomorrow, and in a couple of weeks I've got Simon Parkes, who's a British. I wouldn't say contactee because he's more than a contactee. He says he's a hybrid, alien hybrid, very, very reasonable, very, very intelligent, very, very clear, very, very calm, will explain everything. So it'd be a very, very interesting thing. So what's going on at the moment in the planet? Right. Well, here we are. We're looking at the end of the New World Order, even before it starts. The idea is that they've been planning this for, centuries, and trying to set it all in place. But the main thing is things need to be dropped in the right order. It's a bit like that old Mousetrap game, or who is that? Heath Robinson, these little Mousetrap sort of devices that are like you push one thing and that tips a wheel that rolls down a thing that drops into a thing and then makes something else go. It's like a whole series of events that trigger one after another. Now, these were planned a long time ago, and what happens is that there are good guys. We call them the White Hats. There are white hats in the CIA, in the FBI, in the NSA, in the MI5. There's white hats and black hats. There's black hats who are the bad guys and white hats are the good guys. And they're working against each other. It's like Spy versus Spy from that old Mad magazine. So what is going on at the moment is that the U.S. and, well, not the U.S. Let's really make it clear. Who is the bad guy? Who is it? It's the Federal Reserve cabal who are connected with the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. It's about controlling the money. It's the IMF, the Vatican, the Jesuits, the Ashkenazi Jews. But I don't want to single them out because it's all part of they're all rungs on a ladder that lead you to the dark side. And the dark side goes, I mean, it's, people who believe the Bible say that there are powers and principalities and all these unseen forces. So that ladder leads into the unseen forces, and essentially they're expressing through these groups, and their main thing is to try and enslave us. So what they do is they scare the crap out of everybody and then offer a solution. So they may sort of produce a whole bunch of diseases, and then they say, look, we've got the vaccine here, and it may seem that it's being these things are random, but they're not, and they all turn out to be happening on specific dates that are connected with a certain a pagan, or I won't use pagan. Let's do the right word. They're Satanist calendar, and there are certain times of the year, like Halloween. Everybody knows about Halloween, when the veil is thin. So bad things can happen. You do bad things, you can really generate a lot of negative energy, and that's what all these. So what you get, some of the things we've learned over the last year is that the sequence of all these things that happen. So you get like a celebrity death, and then you'll have a ceremony over the weekend with one of those weird little things like in the Super Bowl, and then there she comes riding in like the Whore of Babylon on the great beast and all of these things. But what was interesting is that this particular ceremony fell a bit flat. It didn't have the big pizzazz that it was supposed to have because everybody's watching it. And this is the big difference. In the years gone by, we were just kind of seeing all these as unconnected random events, but now we're seeing them as all part of a larger process that is literally scooping our emotions out of us. That's what it's for. That's what war is for, is to generate a substance which the Monroe Institute called loosh, which essentially is if you distress a human being, they exude this stuff. It's like, don't let them, they can smell your fear, the smell of fear. That's loosh. And there are hidden beings, like I said, up that ladder, and that's what they eat. And that's why we have wars, is to feed these demonic creatures, and they're huge, and, long story. It is a very, very long story, and it's really complex. So I'm kind of dotting about here and there in order to try and be like, like a painter who's saying, do you see how this bit over here, this bit over here. Now you look at the big picture. You can see how the big picture.
Well, we always say it's like a jigsaw. And, if you look at pieces of the jigsaw in isolation, it's very easy to turn around and go, oh, I don't believe that. But when you start putting the pieces of the jigsaw together bit by bit, and I think there's an escalation of things happening in the world at the moment. There's more stuff being revealed, more stuff coming out. And they're trying to do their bit as well. We had the Charlie Hebrew, obviously the chaps over there, the fake false flag over there in France. And now we have something in Denmark. We have 2 people killed, I believe, in Denmark. What happened the other day? And this seems to be getting an escalation, and they're trying to bring in the whole jihad thing, and there's certain sleeping cells around Europe, and I think they said there was 20 on BBC or something. Now, I don't really watch the news. I normally watch a bit of Russia Today, but I don't really watch BBC. But on passing, they said something about 20 sleeper cells in Europe ready to be activated, and all the scaremongering. And obviously, we know what this is all about. It's all about taking their, putting the fear factor in, and then people say, what are you going to do about it? Problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. And then the people at the top say, oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll bring more cameras in and we'll take more of your freedoms away and put more security in place. And, and the other thing I've seen as well, Jaypee, was I've seen it on Facebook on an article that was written up. And I don't know how true it is, but they're just saying that they might get to the stage where if you have not been vaccinated, they won't let you fly. Now, I can see that's definitely Big Brother that you're going to have to get on, and not just show your passport, but show that you had all your vaccines. I mean, talk about getting worse. So this is the problem because...
I'm just guessing, these new passports with the RFID chip, that'll probably have all that information in it anyway.
Probably will, yeah, and they'll scan that in the airport, and if you haven't been vaccinated, you can't fly. So this is the thing. We hear an awful lot, Jaypee, about the white hats and about what they're doing and the escalation. More stuff is being exposed, I agree. We're seeing more and more corruption coming out, and people are seeing and people are waking up to it, and all that is brilliant. But there seems to be this push still on by the New World Order. I mean, maybe they are like trapped rats in the corner, and they're doing everything they possibly can because they know that their time is up. And they're trying to bring everything out. And like working in a corporate company, and I've said this before on the show, that if a corporate company is going to go bankrupt, they're going to close down, they're going to administration, the last people to know are the people in middle management and the staff underneath. They'll just be told, oh yeah, the business is doing great, while the board of directors are organising their getting out of the company and moving to another company, or their getaway car, get that organised. And so maybe that's the case. Maybe the New World Order at the top know that the game's over, but they're not telling the minions below, and the minions below are still carrying on doing what they're doing. What's your take on that?
The minions below. Hang on one moment. Nice cup of British tea. Okay, so you covered a few things there. The main thing is the belief in the news. Number one, we now know. We've seen it. We know what crisis actors are. We know that CGI is possible in real time nowadays to insert and remove items from a video feed. We know that technology exists. It's been demonstrated. And so anything that is on the news, you can assume, basically, that it's not news, it's propaganda. Okay? Because we know that, you may have a real newsworthy event in your local town, but you'll never see it on the news. It may tell some great truth. It may talk about how they've found some paedophile, or how they've uncovered some paedophiles in government. But you won't see it because the news is not news. It's actually a story designed to make you feel scared. And if anybody has trouble with nervous stuff like palpitations and arrhythmia and the heart, anything to do with the heart, stop watching the news. You'll feel a lot better. And there's more influences, right? One of the things that I've been discovering over the last year is the influence. Get this, you're going to not like this. Nobody's going to like this. The influence of yeast on the human being. Yeast is I believe yeast is an ancient nanotechnology that has been given us from the Egyptian days, and that was given to us by Marduk, the bad god, badass, and it made beer and bread, and beer and bread keeps the populace happy, yeah, because it kind of dumbs you down. Yeast creates candida, creates cancer. Candida affects your brain. It causes cravings. You're not your own person if you've got candida in your body, and everybody's got candida in their body. I believe it's part of a very, very ancient mind control technology that we have, and people willingly drink beer and eat bread. It's only in the last year or so that I've been coming away from wheat. The other thing about wheat is it's full of Roundup. Roundup is a Monsanto.
You could be right there, Monsanto. Yeah.
I know. A Monsanto product, which is essentially a diluted version of Agent Orange. And it has
it's been used as a weed killer in excess for many, many years. And as antibiotics in excess have created superbugs, what happens in this is that the wheat absorbs, and the corn absorbs the Roundup as it's harvested. And when it gets concentrated into what they make Coca-Cola with, for instance, high fructose corn syrup, which is on a lot of your food products, you're actually drinking concentrated Roundup because of the trace elements in it. When they make the syrup from it, they concentrate it. So that's another reason not to drink your soft drinks. There's always aspartame as well, which is another reason not to drink soft drinks. So where have we got? So stop eating bread, beer. Then there's the death industry, of course. You know, if you buy meat, you're supporting the industry that is it's death industry. So it's prisons, sewage, abattoirs, human trafficking, prisons, military industry, the whole thing. It all is part of the same thing. And so, by being part of the meat industry, by giving money, by buying stuff from the standard meat industry, you're contributing to the death of the world. So, I know I'm sounding like a radical vegan, and I don't mean to, but you can't. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat meat. I'm just saying try not to eat meat that is generated by the big industry. Local farmers support them. Small holdings and things like that are the best if you want to eat meat. Make it local. Be macrobiotic about it. Anyway, so this is all the stuff, and then they stick the chemtrails in the air, and some people don't believe in them, but I see these things, and then everybody in the next few days says, "Oh, I've got a terrible cold. Oh, I don't know where this flu came from." Oh, right, yeah, well, I do. And so that's the chemtrails. So they're making us sick. They're making us scared. And they basically want us to beg them for help. And at that point, we are their slaves, and we're enslaved forever. And so we have to become self-sufficient on our own, in our groups. We have to become less needy of modern technologies, learn how to make fires, learn how to make stoves, learn how to go off the grid. There are solutions to this. Stop watching the news. You'll be 100% happier. I'm not kidding. People will tell you when there's stuff going on that is really going to affect you, people will tell you. And the other thing, we all get lost in details. Say there's a Malaysian plane. Oh, the Malaysian plane's gone down, and it's like got these bolts and these nuts and these people above it, and there's all these details that everybody gets about it. Well, one of the things they don't tell you is that Boeing has every piece has got a GPS chip on it. Every piece of their airplane. If they smash the so in order, if a plane blows up into bits, they can find the different bits because they've all got GPS attached. So the one thing in all these Malaysian Airways is, where is Boeing? Nobody has asked Boeing where the planes are because they know where they are. All right, another thing. So Boeing, by the way, is part of the military-industrial death prison contest. And Boeing, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, all of these guys, they've been also, all right, just as a side, they've been building anti-gravity craft for at least 50 years now. All these Delta Wing things and the stealth planes,
The TR-3Bs and stuff.
TR-3Bs, TR-6Es, all of these things. They're the patents have been there since the 50s. They exist. We should not have to be driving around in explosion-based engines.
Combustion engines, yeah.
Yeah. I had the thought the other day, actually, what if every time a piece of oil is burned, the mother feels it, the Mother Earth feels pain? Imagine every explosion in a car, every single stroke of a piston engine causes the Earth literally pain because you're burning her blood. Imagine that. I've been really getting into the consciousness recently of the whole of everything. You know, the consciousness of animals. People are now saying, "Oh yes, dolphins, they're people too." The Indians have declared that they're people too. So very soon, I think we're going to have a great revolution where people are going to realize, you know, hey, these animals, you know, we thought they were dumb and they thought, you know, they didn't mind, but turns out that they can actually feel this stuff and that we're really hurting them. And perhaps we should stop doing this. People are starting to feel what is called empathy. Not sympathy, but empathy, which is actually, you know, so, and I experienced it the other night. My girlfriend drank too much and the other night and was sick, and, you know, she drank enough to be sick. And I could feel it. I could, every time she was, and it wasn't like I was hearing her and I could actually feel the pain in my stomach as she was being ill. And that's empathy, and we'll be more and more feeling these things. We'll be able to speak to our cats and dogs. Many people do. Many people voice their cats and dogs. I don't know if you've ever noticed, you know, you're standing there talking to someone, you've got these two animals, and you're playing out a scenario with them talking to each other. Hey, look at those people over there, yeah, kind of thing. So we are getting more and more empathic, and there'll come a point soon when we'll realize, oh, I'm sorry, perhaps we better stop this. I had this thought when I was carving. I was looking at a picture of me carving the duck at Christmas, and I thought, wow, perhaps if a being from a duck planet came here and was looking through my Facebook pictures and went, oh, what are you doing there? You know, how am I going to explain that? Well, we have this ceremony. Okay, you have a ceremony where you cut one of my people up and slice it up. Yeah.
That's like on the Men in Black, where your man is about to stand on the cockroach and he doesn't do it, and the cockroach goes, "Thank you very much." You know it? Remember that part? But Jaypee, I'm hearing a lot about the energy changing, and I keep hearing people saying it's coming, and the global reset, financial reset, and the dragon family and all that stuff. What's your take on all of that?
Well, okay, I've been reading Fulford since 2000. And reading all these stories, and you know, there's a lot of story in it, and sometimes it's like, oh, that's an insight into what happened there. That's quite interesting. I'm not sure if the global reset, that whole thing, is actually relevant to our consciousness expansion, which is really what's going on. We are raising it, like I was saying just now. The awareness of the consciousness of animals and the ability, more and more people are dog whisperers, cat whisperers, horse whisperers, this whisperer and that whisperer. I'll be having a guest on soon. Indeed, her name is Rockefeller, Jean Rockefeller. She has a horse which she channels the teachings of, and he's a very, very wise old horse. He's called Jack. They call him Jack the Watcher. So people are becoming more and more conscious, more and more aware that other things have consciousness, more and more aware of the idea that inanimate, what we used to call inanimate, is not inanimate. We thought the planet was an inanimate thing, just a lump of rock that we're spinning on. No, it's got a consciousness. It's called Gaia. Gaia has, she has responses, and people speak for her. And it's very sensible, and it's like, you know, I can see what you're doing, and you know, you're going to have to stop that kind of thing, you know, in regard to fracking and things like that. So the first thing we need to realize is that we got to stop worshipping money. We got to stop worshipping anything, actually. We have to stop worship, because it just doesn't... worship is what these badass gods like Marduk forced us to do. And it just basically means give up your energy to me. That's what worship is. And you don't want to worship anything. If you want to worship something, the only thing you should worship ever is your own soul, because you're here to do its bidding, because that's who you are. You are the expression of your soul. You don't have a soul. Your soul has you. You are it. It is you in manifestation. You are your soul in manifestation. And your life purpose is what your soul is intending to do on this planet, as long as you don't, like, spend all the time just getting drunk and hurting people or being belligerent or doing all those things that offend, that stop the soul wanting to be in your body.
I've said the same about
there's religion for you, by the way. That is in a nutshell, that's religion. That's what religion should be.
I've said the same about the hierarchical structure in society, in corporate companies where you have the board of directors and then middle management and all that. And the hierarchical structure does not work, because you could have one person in charge of 50, 100, 150 people, and because of their ignorance or arrogance, they could affect all them people. Because it's something, they might make a decision based on their own lack of information or their own arrogance, which could benefit all the people that they're in control of, but because of their attitude, then basically these people don't benefit. And this is the problem what we have with the likes of the police force, where they turn around and they're told, this is what you have to do. Now, I looked up the whole Nuremberg trials and just looking at what is the process regarding this. And it says basically that why the Nazis were tried, and just kind of go down this route regarding management and control, and the Gardaí over here, the police force over in Ireland, is that it says basically that if the law of the land says it's illegal and the police go and do it because they're being told to do it by a superior, then they are responsible for their actions. Like if Steve says to me, Alan, will you go over there and kill that person? And I go and do it, and then I get arrested, and I go, well, Steve told me to do it. They're not going to arrest him, they're going to arrest me, because I'm the one who did it. And the thing is with the whole hierarchical system is that the police and the Gardaí think that because their boss or their superior told them to do it, that they have to do it, even though it could be breaking the law of the actual land. And this is why the Nazis obviously were tried. So the whole hierarchical system affects society in so many ways. And if you look at the public sector companies, not so much private companies because they're private, but the likes of the banking system, you have the staff on the ground. We know there's staff in banks committing suicide because of the pressure they're under and things happening there. And all that pressure is coming down from, could be middle management, upper management, from the board of directors. And because of a handful of people up there controlling the system and filtering all that down, as I used to say to an old boss of mine, I said, he doesn't suffer from stress, he's a carrier. And so that's the way I see it. I don't know what's your take on that.
Does your family suffer from insanity? No, we're all quite happy with it. All right, so you covered a few things there, and some things I want to cover is banking money, all right? So banker deaths, right? Banker deaths, the reason that there's all these low-end bankers that are apparently committing suicide with nail guns, yeah, good idea, is that they are basically, they know what's been going on, and they're being killed for silence. They're being silenced before they become whistleblowers. You probably find that most of them were involved in some delicate dealings, let's say. And that's why a lot of them are dying. There is a kind of, really you can see that in the banking sector, if you want to see where the flurry of panic really is in the dark side, that's where you look. It's chaos at the moment, and there is going to be something. All right, so okay, banking. What we got to realize, what you got to know, is that money is another thing that we worship. We worship it blindly. We're not even aware of what money is. You don't even know that notes, these pieces of cloth that we exchange, they're like little magic spells, and they have negative karma attached to them and all sorts of things because of blood. A lot of money is made off the backs of people's blood. Nobody who is super rich ever got super rich by being a nice guy, or woman, very rarely, the essence of the money system is, again, it's a way of extracting energy from us. And then, just to add insult to injury, they then call us dead. They then say, sign your name in black ink, which means you're a corpse, a corporation, because they're dead too. So it's all the land of the dead. And really, we don't want to have anything to do with it because we're living souls on the planet. We have to realize that. So all of this stuff about, sign your name in black ink, you have to sign it in uppercase, all these things, is acknowledging the corporation, the death, your dead bit. It's just like a dead corpse that's, you're dragging around behind you. We have to get to a place where we understand what really is going on with money, what money is about. Say money is time. Yes, it's your soul time. You've got 70 years. Divide that by 2 for the amount of sleep. So 35 years. And then you're growing up, and then you're decaying. So you can knock about 20 years off that. So we've got about 15 good years of man work, human work, that can be done. And if you're distracted by being made to play games, or you've been taken off and you have to do this stupid, boring job that causes you to be hateful and resentful, then this lovely soul energy that you have, which is pure love and pure service and improvement of the world around you, is lost. That's what they mean by stealing your soul. So that's what they do every day, and that's what super rich people are rich from, your and everybody else's soul energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, fine. We have a lot of questions coming in, so we better crack on with the questions. We have a few anyway, and we'll crack on with them.
Yeah, Jaypee, how's it going? Nice to talk to you.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah, Chris was asking us earlier. He was wondering, well, 2 questions actually from Chris. Can you ask Jaypee about the statement on Friday by John Podesta? I probably pronounced that wrong. And can you ask Jaypee, did he buy any dinars?
Number one, I don't know about what Podesta said. His name only very, very slightly familiar, and I don't even know what context it is. Like I said, I don't watch don't know. I deal with my own personal situation a lot. I deal with the radio, and I hear what people say on the radio. And I deal with my own personal situation, which is like chickens and stoves and wood and stuff, and my friends. But I don't sort of watch much news. So did I buy any dinars? I think somebody a long time ago sent me one. And I've got this like 10,000 dinar note somewhere. I don't know. To me, I think that's, again, it's a distraction, because it's more little magic spells. Remember, the note of money is a magic spell. It's actually what they call them, a talisman. It's got these symbols on it. It's got writings on it. It's all a talisman. It's magic, and it draws you into its magic. And we're all, if you hold up a blank piece of paper and you hold somebody up a £5 note or a £5 note, it's going to be, your eyes are going to be drawn towards the note because it's got magic in it. It's literal black magic.
Yeah.
Fact,
well, if
law is black's magic, isn't it?
It is.
Black's magic book.
Well, look, if you have any of those notes or any of those magic pieces of paper that you want to get rid of, just send them over.
Oh, I keep them in a specially lead-lined box. It's okay.
I'd say you do.
They're all safe with me. There's a special box, and it's buried deep within the ground under a military establishment, and you have to have 2 people that open. No, shut up. Anyway, next question.
It's all protected.
Sorry, Chris, but I can't really answer your questions. Again, like I say, it's the details of it. They're a distraction. Step away. Look at the big picture. Look at the big puzzle. See who the IMF is. See who the Vatican is. See what the policies. All right, here we go. Look at the policies of the IMF. There was an interview several years ago, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. And if you read that, that will illustrate that what we called Reaganomics and Thatcheronics and all these other things, they're basically the IMF policy of strip mining a country. Stripping a country, and you see what's happening with Ireland now with the water. That's a really prime example, and is the water is the most. We are water. We're all 65% water men, 55% women.
Well, we had John Perkins on the show, and we talked to him about that, and he confirmed everything. Obviously he wrote the book of the whole idea, and we said about the Celtic Tiger years Bertie O'Hearn, who was the Taoiseach at the time, the Prime Minister, who obviously got loads of money from the IMF, and then obviously couldn't pay it back, and so he then started strip mining Ireland. And water is just one of many the commodities they're going to be going after, and it's all about privatisation. You know, I know that they're trialling private security firms, G4 Security, in 1 or 2 counties up the north in the UK to replace the police force. So don't be surprised if the government come out, say to Irish government and the UK government, and they start privatising everything. Because that's what they want. They want to privatise everything. I mean, the healthcare, the NHS at the moment is free, but they're going to be looking to privatise that somewhere down the line, probably something like Obamacare. But the energies are changing at the moment, Jaypee. And I'm seeing, I don't know about everybody else on the chat room and generally, but I'm seeing a massive escalation of more and more information coming out, being exposed, and things happening. And it's as if things are speeding up. And I don't know whether you're feeling it.
I think he's feeling it now.
I think you're feeling. Are you there, Jaypee?
Yeah. Sorry, you kind of stopped mid-sentence. I don't know what you're feeling, and then you stopped.
Oh, I don't know. I just said I don't know if you're feeling it, you know, or you're seeing it yourself. But I'm seeing an escalation of exposures and obviously banker debts and all that stuff happening, and it seems to be getting faster and faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, the Mayan calendar's been talking about it. Imagine that time is more like a journey around. Imagine climbing a pyramid, not going up to scaling the side, but going around the steps and going around the whole thing, going one step at a time every time you're going up. So it's a much gentler slope. But as you get closer to the top, the slope, you know, you're making faster and faster rounds until you're going right at the top of the pyramid. And that's the Mayan pyramid model. And that every step you go up is another age, another generation, another layer of consciousness. Again, we'll go back to it's all about consciousness. What we're here to do is raise ourselves in consciousness, which means being conscious of our situation, being here in our bodies, and understanding that you have a soul consciousness that is doing its best to infuse into your life. And you raise your consciousness, and it lowers its consciousness until it meets in the middle. And then you have what we call a soul connection. And people who have soul connections are people that they call great leaders or great men or great women. They are the ones that that seem to have no fear. They seem to be able to just walk into the lion's den, pull the thorn out of the lion, and step out without being harmed. You know, because they're in what they call a divine neutral state. When you're in your soul energy, you're not one or the other. You're not in a dualistic phase. You are truth. You know, everything you say will be truth and authentic. A lot of people talk about authenticity in expression, which means you say what you mean and you mean what you say. And this happens when you're connected with your soul, because you is your soul. Like I said before, your soul is not a thing that you have. You are your soul expressing. And a lot of so-called religious, so-called education tells you that your soul is something that is far away, that can be traded. You know, you can sell your soul to the devil and all that stuff. That your soul is just a kind of thing that happens for some people. But no, everybody's a soul. Everybody's the expression of a soul, and it's not something that you have, it's something that you are. So therefore, going back to that, money and all of these things, your time is your money, your soul is your time. So you have to be very conscious that where you are is you're fully present in the moment, which means that you're not thinking about this or you're thinking about that or there or then, that you're here and now, and you're seeing the issues that are faced with, and that you're able to, if you can assume that if you're standing in front of something that has an issue, it's your job to fix it because you're standing there. And that's basically what we need to all do. It's called what they call stepping up. And there are things that we can all do in our daily lives where just a little bit of stepping up, rather than saying, oh, I'll leave that to somebody else, or I'll leave that to the experts. You're the expert in that moment. So what I want to say to people is increase your consciousness by doing a little thing every day that is more aware, that is less autopilot. We do these things all, we wake up in the morning. Imagine consciously making your cup of tea, saying to yourself, I am, doing a narrative in your head. I am going over to my box of tea bags. I'm going to open the lid. I'm going to take a tea bag. That is mindfulness. You're being 100% in the moment, even though you're kind of narrating it, but it's a way of bringing yourself into the moment every time. The best thing is actually not to narrate it, but just to feel it, just to feel all the feelings in your daily life as you go. And feelings are the language of the soul and of the universe. So, for instance, if you were lucky or unlucky enough to meet an extraterrestrial who doesn't speak English, they communicate in the language of feeling, which is why they don't like to show themselves to us, because when we get scared, they feel it, and it's not pleasant for them either. So,
but where do you see it, the Earth going? Where do you see us going in the next 2 years? Because Eisenhower.
So what's going? I mean, what is going?
Yeah.
What we could, we have to choose, right? There's the thing. There are going to be people who will choose. Everybody's going to choose, and the safety option is the one you want to move away from. We want to be in a slightly more risky but slightly more free situation. It might appear to be a lot more risky and a lot harder to get to, but actually that's an illusion. That's one of the things that they try to put around us to make it so that they stay overarching us, being our arching leader and things like that. So basically, we need to get an idea of how on the Earth, how do I live? How can a human live? How do we do it? Do we do it in a community? Okay, let's make a community. Let's make a community that doesn't need so much money, that we pool our money. That's hard. How about making a community where we trade amongst each other? That's good. That's very good. That's very, very good, because you really learn about money and about energy interactions. So I suggest form a let system.
Yeah, that's. I was going to say time banking. Jaypee, we've run out of time, unfortunately. But listen, thanks a lot for coming on, and much appreciated for jumping in the last minute there. Much appreciated. Good luck with the shows that you're doing. I'm going to pass you over to Steve. Steve's going to get all your contact details off you there. You can tell people where they can find you.
Okay, Jaypee, just go for it there. Give us your contact details, and I'll get them up in the chat room here.
Okay, so my personal site is called everbeyondradio.com. So that's ever, E-V-E-R, beyond, B-E-Y-O-N-D, radio.com. I'm also the chief producer for Wolf's Spirit Radio, wolfspiritradio.com. And my shows are transmitted on both of those sites. There's a chat room at Wolf Spirit Radio as well. Do come along. It's good fun. There's some lovely people there. You can contact me through everbeyondradio.com. I've got a contact thing. I've got some little things for sale. I sell things like meditation tools and energy clearing instruments. And I also do a consultancy, which is where I can tell people about their soul energy, their life energy. Every soul, like I said, has a note, and I can read the note and reflect back what that creates. And that's like your soul purpose, your life purpose. It's what you love. Anyway, long story. everbeyondradio.com, wolfspiritradio.com. Tonight I've got Stuart Swerdlow. Tomorrow I've got Laura Eisenhower, Ike's great-great-granddaughter. In a couple of weeks I've got Simon Parks, the alien hybrid. Evie Lorgan's coming on. Some really great guests, some really luminaries of the now, people who are really making a change. I had Alfred Weber on last week. All my archives are free. Do come along, and come along and have a reading from me. It's good fun. It'll tell you a lot about yourself.
Brilliant stuff.
Thanks very much.
That's great, Jaypee. Okay, stay with us there, Jaypee. We've just gone off to a quick musical break. We'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com, UnitedWeStrike.com and PeoplesInternetRadio.com.
Yes, Kelly Marie, Feels Like I'm in Love. Alan was just wondering where I got that one from. That's an old 45, but just lying on the table when I come up, so I put it on the turntable.
Feels like I'm getting sick more like than I feel like I'm in love. Kelly Marie, God, that's a blast from the past, alright. Well, there you go, that's the show tonight. As I say, our first guest was Fiona OLeary. Fiona's on the chat on OYM at the moment, chatting to a few people on the chat there. I think it's red hot, obviously being talking about the MMS issue. Hopefully, if Fiona takes on and has a chat with Vin and they organise a little show for have a debate, that should be a good one. Should be a good thing to do, I think.
I'd say, well, I mean, I know we're limited time here, but I know Vin is going to, as he said, he'll get someone on from the other side of the camp, and Fiona will come on and they'll have an on-air debate with Vin as the MC, I suppose. I mean, that'll be worth listening to. Unfortunately, we couldn't have we didn't have anyone lined up to debate it with Fiona, and as Alan said, like, we kind of have to sit in the fence and just we just ask the questions that we have here.
Exactly. We don't know enough about it to actually go and ask the questions anyway. That's why we need somebody who's actually investigated the MMS, and then we can have a proper show, a proper debate, which Vin said that he'll host there on People's Internet Radio. So I think that's probably the best thing to do. Right, okay, we've got 5 minutes left. Who's on with Vin tonight, Steve?
Yeah, on with Vincent on PIR after us is going to be Brian Smith, and Vin says Brian Smith is the man who was in court and had success with the official offer process. He's been doing it for 3.5 years. And so that's going to be worth listening to, because I know we've had people on before and people on the chat room saying the official offer process, it's mumbo jumbo, it doesn't work. Well, this chap seemingly has proven in a court that it does work, so that will be worth listening to. And you know what, just something I meant to say this earlier on, and I completely forgot about it. But do you remember we heard that the price of petrol, the crude oil or whatever, was going down, and the price of the pumps went down, and we were kind of told, but once that goes down, this is what happened before in 2008. So the price of petrol goes down, and then all of a sudden there's a collapse. And I was kind of saying, well, I wonder, was that when the petrol price went down, was that the beginning of something that was going to happen? But nothing really happened, and I've noticed there over the past 2 days, I'm guessing you have too, that the petrol prices are starting to go up again.
Are they?
Yeah.
More money. I do see an awful lot on the news of, I mean, I said it to Jaypee about things speeding up and escalating, and things going on more and more and more, and it's just like, it's like a race between two people. And, you know, the New World Order do their bit, and then the White Hats do their bit, and then, you know, it's just, but it definitely is escalating in the speed. But just going back and touching base, I believe tomorrow there's going to be 200 and odd cases at the Cork. Maybe, I think it's tomorrow anyway, I'm not too sure. But I did see it on Facebook that there's going to be a lot of cases there, a lot of people in Cork, a lot of evictions coming up there. We know about 50,000 for the first part of this year. So if you can get to local circuit courts and promote the hub and the Land League, National Land League, and just get out there and help out and get involved with a local Land League group, that would be fantastic. Again, just a quick message from what we said earlier on. If anybody out there is familiar with responsive web design and is familiar with the T3 framework or Helix 2 Bootstrap, or just responsive web design in general, if you can give us a shout, I'd like to pick your brain about that, because we're going to be in the process of doing the new OYM site, and we will need to kind of get our heads around the whole responsive thing, so we can get working with mobile phones. But that's really the news. Now, normally I say the guest on next week is, but we don't actually have a guest, because I put out a lot of feelers, a lot of emails to people to come on the show, and it's kind of dribs and drabs coming back in, and I'm just organising dates and stuff like that, so we don't really know for sure. Keep an eye on the schedule. If you download the OYM app, you can check the schedule on that, and then just, you know, you'll see on that who's coming on, and we'll announce it anyway near the time. So keep an eye out. But for myself anyway, we'll finish up, pass off to Vin, and take care of yourself and stay safe and take it easy. If you have any links, let us know. Thanks for donations as well. You've got myself, Alan James. Have a good time. Have a good week. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay, and don't forget, we still have, if anyone's looking for T-shirts and bumper stickers. Well, when I say bumper stickers, car stickers as well. If anybody wants to grab a few of them, it's only €5 for 5 stickers. And they'll make, if you have an old banger, they'll make it look like I don't know, they'll make it look better anyway. Anyway, stay tuned for Vin on PIR, and we'll do it all again next week. So until then, take care, good night, bye bye.
Open your mind.